Okay, what we've got here is a Fender Deluxe Strat Plus, which I got 30 years ago. It has the stock pickups, which are Fender lace sensors, and I'm going to replace these with some Kinman pickups, which I've just purchased in their no soldering harness. Got a new pick guard, got a wrench, a screwdriver, and a wire stripper, and my laptop with the instructions. Now I should say, although I've been playing guitar for a long time, I have absolutely no experience with doing any kind of electrical work or changing pickups. So let's see how it goes. Okay, step one, I've taken off the guitar strings, and you see I've purchased this replacement pick guard for simplicity's sake. You have to count the number of screws around the edge of the pick guard and make sure you're getting one that should fit. This one should fit, according to its description. We'll see. Next, I'm going to unscrew the pick guard. Okay, I've taken all the screws out from the periphery. Let's see how easily the pick guard sort of lifts up. So far, no major problems. Now it's underneath the neck there, but it just seems to slide right out. So no trouble. And as I lift it up, you can see the wires on the inside. Okay, now on my guitar, there seem to be 4 wires that are going from the inside of the guitar up to the electronics on the pick guard. So we've got 2 here, a white one attached to that screw, and another white one that goes to the back to the trem claw, I guess. So I believe these to be both ground wires. And then we've got 2 more, a black and a white one, which are the output wires that go to the output jack. Okay, and they're attached to the volume pot. So the next item on the instructions from Kinman is I need to remove these ground wires from the electronics here by breaking them at their solder points. So I'm just kind of wiggling this wire around, hoping to break it away from the volume pot. Okay, success. That was a bit of a pain in the neck, actually, and I ended up using my wire cutters, but I freed those 2. Next step is I have to take the output jack off, so I'll have to unscrew those 2 screws. Okay, I've removed those screws, and the actual output socket was held into this harness by means of this nut here, which I loosened up using the needle nose pliers and then unscrewed. So I take that off. So this connects to those other 2 wires that we saw before on the underside of the original pick guard. Now, there's no way for this to go through that tiny hole there. So in order to get rid of it, I need to actually break these wires here, which is okay because the Kinman harness comes with a new one of these jack output sockets. Okay, so now I've done that, and the original pick guard is now free. I should be able to just pull those wires through. There we go, and voila. Now, I could mount the new pickups on the existing pick guard, but for simplicity's sake, I chose to get a new pick guard. And I guess just on the possibility I don't like the new pickups, I can always put the old ones back in. Okay, so the instructions say to remove all of this stuff from the plastic shipping plate, and apparently I can just slide the knobs off. The special lower tone knob has to be in its out position, which, as you can see, it is. So if I give it a gentle tug, what happens? Oh, it just pops right off. Okay, there we go. Okay, I've taken all the pieces out of the shipping container. So now I'm going to install the pickups onto my new pick guard here. Okay, you can see I've got the new pickups screwed into the pick guard, and one thing I didn't initially realize is there are these little red rubber thingies here that came in the box from Kinman, and they seem to go between the pickup and the pick guard, so the screw goes through them, and they act like kind of like a little cushion. Now the instructions say that when you're installing the volume and tone pots here, you're supposed to have 4 thread ridges exposed above the pick guard, which I think I do, so we'll find out. So I think it's about right because the knob moves freely, and when I compare the distance between the knob and the pick guard to the pick guard of the old one, it seems comparable to me. Reading through the instructions, it seems I've made a mistake because I wasn't supposed to install the switch yet. I was actually supposed to undo all the connections from the switch. So we have this tone control here. You can see there's these little plastic connectors that I can pull them out, and here's the volume one, so I'll unplug that. And then here is the one for the K9 special tone pot, which I'll get off once I have a free hand. Okay, and you're supposed to align the terminals on the pots like in the diagram in the instructions, so something like this before you tighten them up on the other side. So I think I'm okay now. Okay, now I understand why I wasn't supposed to connect the switch just yet. The output cable here is connected to the switch by this long black wire that ends in these 2 little plugs here. So I have to take those out so that I can thread the cable through the body. Which explains why Kinman sent me this little screwdriver here, which I believe will loosen these screws at the terminals where they connect. Right here. Okay, to get these little things through this hole, we're going to do the piggyback method that he describes in the instructions. That just means poking the back of one into the other like that, then it should feed through more easily. Okay, not perfect, but it seemed to come through. Okay, now when you attach the output jack to the jack plate here, you have to do it in such a way that this spring thing is centered like so. Because if you don't, when you actually plug in the guitar, as I discovered on my first attempt a moment ago, there won't actually be room in there for the tip of the guitar cable to get in. So that's the way that goes. Requires a little fiddling. Okay, so now back to our 2 original ground wires, which I have here. I've just cleaned up the ends a little bit and got them ready to go. So they have to be installed into the switch. Now you'll remember we took those red and white terminals from the output cable out of the switch here. The red one goes on the right, the white one goes on the middle, and then the left one is for the grounding cable. So that's what I'm going to put in there. Okay, so now you can see I've got them all in place. I won't lie, it was a little finicky. Okay, I've put the switch back on the pickguard. Now I've got to reconnect those little terminals, these little plastic guys that I disconnected earlier. Now I've got to get this all back into the guitar. You can see the black wires from the underside of the pickups need to be sort of pushed out of the way here. Sort of further in like that. Let's see if that'll go. Okay, as you can see, I was able to get the pick guard screwed back into the body. The new pick guard was pretty close to this line, the holes lined up pretty well, and really looks sharp, I think. Next will be stringing and adjusting the pickup height. Okay, I've restrung the guitar, and the next step is to raise the pickups so they're the appropriate distance underneath the strings. And I do that by basically adjusting these little screws here. As I tighten the screw, the pickup gets higher. And Kinman on the website have recommended measurements between the strings and the top of the pickup, so you can look at that. Okay, I got the heights adjusted. Initially I had the pickups way too close to the strings, and as I played, sometimes the strings were actually contacting the metal magnets on the pickups, and obviously that sounded terrible. So I had to actually lower the pickups a little bit, but overall I've got it working and it seems to be sounding really good, and no hum whatsoever. Overall, I would say that the instructions were very understandable for somebody who's done it before, but a little bit confusing for me, never having done this kind of work before. And they could have been a little bit simpler. The work was not difficult. It was at times a little bit finicky. It was definitely helpful having a second pick guard and not having to reuse my existing pick guards. So thanks, Kinman, and I hope you found this video useful.